In the ancient world, before the great flood that would reshape humanity, there lived a man whose name would echo through millennia of religious tradition. His name was Enoch, and his story begins not with miracles or divine interventions, but with a simple yet profound truth. He was chosen. What makes Enoch's story absolutely mind-blowing isn't just that he was chosen, it's that he was chosen during humanity's darkest hour. While civilizations around him were crumbling under supernatural corruption and his neighbors were making deals with fallen angels for forbidden knowledge, Enoch somehow remained pure enough to catch God's attention in the most extraordinary way possible. Consider this for a moment. In a world where beings with supernatural powers walked among humans, offering technology and knowledge that wouldn't be rediscovered for thousands of years, one man said, "No thanks," and chose to walk with God instead. That's not just faith, that's cosmic-level discernment. Enoch wasn't just any man. He was the seventh generation from Adam himself, and in mystical traditions, 7 represents completion and divine order. While his contemporaries lived ordinary lives, Enoch was being prepared for something unprecedented. He lived exactly 365 years, the number of days in a year, another sign that his life was governed by celestial mathematics rather than earthly randomness. Ancient Hebrew scholars discovered that when you convert Enoch's name into its numerical equivalent using gematria, the ancient system where letters have numerical values, his name adds up to exactly 365. His identity, his lifespan, and cosmic time itself were mathematically synchronized in a way that defies coincidence. Even more fascinating, Enoch's great-grandfather was Mahalalel, whose name means blessed of God. His grandfather was Jared, meaning descent, referring to when the Watchers descended to corrupt humanity. His father was Methuselah, whose name literally means when he dies, judgment comes. Sure enough, Methuselah died the same year the flood began. Enoch's entire family tree was a prophetic timeline. The scripture describes Enoch with a phrase that appears nowhere else. Enoch walked with God. Not prayed to God, not served God. He walked with God. This suggests an intimacy that was completely foreign to human experience. The Hebrew word used here for walked is halak, which implies ongoing, consistent movement in the same direction. This wasn't occasional divine encounters or sporadic spiritual experiences. Enoch maintained constant communication with the Creator while living a normal human life. He had a wife, children, daily responsibilities, yet somehow managed to stay in perfect sync with divine consciousness. Archaeological evidence suggests that Enoch lived in the region we now call Iraq, near what would later become Babylon. This area was ground zero for the Watcher corruption, where fallen angels established their base of operations and taught forbidden knowledge to humans. Enoch was literally living in the enemy's backyard while maintaining perfect fellowship with God. What makes this remarkable is that Enoch was walking with God during one of the most corrupt periods in human history. This was when the Watchers, fallen angels, had descended to earth and were actively corrupting humanity. Yet somehow, amid this spiritual darkness, one man maintained such purity that he could walk alongside the Creator himself. The corruption wasn't subtle or hidden. Giants roamed the earth, consuming everything in their path. Humans were learning to manipulate weather, forge advanced weapons, and practice dark magic. Violence had become so extreme that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart was only evil continually. Yet Enoch remained untouched by this spiritual pandemic sweeping across civilization. Enoch's entire existence was a testament to his extraordinary character, but the story takes an even wilder turn. The number 200 is significant in ancient numerology. It represents incomplete judgment or partial rebellion. These angels didn't represent a majority revolt, but rather a significant minority that chose personal desire over cosmic duty. Their rebellion created a crisis in heaven's government that required immediate divine intervention. Semyaza's name literally means name of God, suggesting he may have once been among the most trusted angels in heaven's hierarchy. His fall demonstrates how pride can corrupt even the most privileged beings. The higher you rise in spiritual authority, the more catastrophic your potential fall becomes. The Book of Enoch records their conspiracy. "Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the children of men." When they descended to Mount Hermon, they didn't just take human wives. They established what can only be described as Hell's first university. Mount Hermon, standing 9,232 feet tall, was considered sacred in ancient times because its peak seemed to touch heaven itself. The fallen angels chose this location deliberately. They wanted their rebellion to be visible to both heaven and earth. The mountain's name, meaning sanctuary, became a mockery as it transformed into headquarters for cosmic rebellion. Archaeological expeditions to Mount Hermon have discovered ancient stone circles, megalithic structures, and carved symbols that don't match any known human civilization from that time period. These mysterious remains might be physical evidence of the Watcher's presence and their advanced technological capabilities. Each angel specialized in teaching forbidden knowledge. Azazel taught men to make weapons of war and introduced cosmetics and jewelry, vanity and materialism that would consume human hearts. Semyaza revealed the secrets of sorcery and pharmaceutical manipulation. Barachiel taught astrology, making people worship stars instead of their creator. Others taught weather manipulation, geological control, and supernatural arts. Azazel's teachings weren't just about physical warfare. He introduced psychological warfare, propaganda, and mass manipulation techniques that would influence human conflict for millennia. His lessons in cosmetics and jewelry weren't just about vanity. They established the foundation for using appearance and material possessions to create social hierarchies and economic control systems. Kokabel specialized in astronomy and mathematics, but twisted these sciences toward occult purposes rather than understanding divine creation. His students learned to worship celestial bodies rather than their creator, establishing the foundation for every pagan religion that would follow. Raquel taught geography and earth mysteries, revealing the locations of precious metals, gems, and energy sources that humans weren't supposed to discover for thousands of years. This knowledge enabled rapid technological advancement, but also created resource conflicts that continue to this day. Ezekiel focused on meteorology and atmospheric manipulation, teaching humans how to influence weather patterns through technological and spiritual means. Some researchers suggest this knowledge survived in ancient traditions about rainmaking, storm calling, and seasonal rituals found in cultures worldwide. The fallen angels didn't just teach random information, they established an integrated curriculum designed to make humans technologically powerful while spiritually dependent. Each lesson built upon previous ones, creating a knowledge system that would trap humanity in cycles of advancement and destruction. The union between these fallen angels and human women produced the Nephilim, giants who were part human, part angelic. These weren't just large people, they were abominations with supernatural strength and insatiable appetites that consumed everything, eventually turning to cannibalism. The Nephilim possessed hybrid genetics that gave them advantages no pure human could match. They grew to enormous sizes, with some ancient accounts suggesting heights of 15–20 feet or more. Their strength was superhuman, allowing them to move massive stones and construct megalithic buildings that still puzzle archaeologists today. But their most dangerous trait wasn't physical, it was psychological. The Nephilim combined angelic intelligence with human emotional instability, creating beings who understood advanced technology but lacked moral restraint. They became the world's first psychopathic super-predators. Their appetites weren't limited to food. Ancient texts describe their insatiable hunger for power, violence, and domination. They established themselves as gods over human populations, demanding worship and sacrifice. Many scholars believe they became the origin of humanity's earliest myths about cruel, demanding deities. The genetic corruption was spreading exponentially. Each Nephilim could reproduce with humans, creating hybrid bloodlines that carried supernatural traits into subsequent generations. God realized that if this continued, pure human DNA would be extinct within a few generations, making the promised Messiah's birth impossible. It was at this moment of cosmic crisis that Enoch received his most dangerous assignment. Someone had to deliver God's judgment to the fallen angels themselves. That someone was Enoch. Why Enoch? Among all humans living at that time, he alone maintained the spiritual purity necessary to confront supernatural beings without being corrupted or destroyed. His unbroken fellowship with God created a protective barrier that even fallen angels couldn't penetrate. The assignment was essentially a supernatural diplomatic mission to beings who had already committed cosmic treason. Enoch had to serve as heaven's ambassador to hell's representatives, delivering an ultimatum that would seal their eternal fate. When Enoch confronted them with divine judgment, something extraordinary happened. These beings who had rebelled against heaven came to him with a desperate request: "Write a petition for us to the Lord, for we can no longer speak to him because of our sin." Picture this scene. Supernatural beings who had corrupted civilization itself, who possessed technology beyond human comprehension, who commanded armies of hybrid giants. These same beings were reduced to begging a human messenger for help. Their rebellion had severed their communication with divine headquarters, leaving them spiritually bankrupt despite their earthly power. This moment reveals a crucial truth about spiritual reality. Sin creates separation from God that cannot be overcome through knowledge, power, or good intentions. The fallen angels understood cosmic principles better than any human, yet they couldn't repair the relationship their choices had destroyed. But when Enoch presented their petition, God's response was swift. "You will have no peace nor forgiveness of sin." The judgment was final. God's rejection of their petition wasn't arbitrary or cruel. It was based on the nature of their rebellion. Unlike humans who sin through weakness or ignorance, these beings sinned with full knowledge of consequences. They had perfect understanding of divine law, yet chose rebellion anyway, making forgiveness impossible. The divine verdict included specific details about their punishment: eternal imprisonment until final judgment, watching helplessly as their hybrid offspring destroyed each other, and eventual casting into the lake of fire prepared for Satan and his angels. Justice would be complete and irreversible. After delivering judgment, Enoch thought his mission was complete. He couldn't have been more wrong. Celestial beings appeared with an invitation that would transform him from messenger into the greatest cosmic explorer in human history. The invitation came from archangels, beings who had remained faithful during the rebellion and now served as God's special representatives. They recognized that Enoch's faithfulness during humanity's darkest hour had qualified him for privileges no human had ever received. "Enoch, scribe of righteousness," they announced, "the Lord of Spirits has chosen you to witness the hidden things of creation. Come with us and see what no human eye has beheld." This wasn't just a reward for faithful service, it was preparation for his role as cosmic historian and prophetic witness. Enoch was invited to leave the physical realm entirely and journey through dimensions of reality no human had ever experienced. What followed was the most extraordinary cosmic journey ever recorded. The transition from physical to spiritual existence happened gradually. Enoch's body was transformed to survive in dimensions where ordinary matter cannot exist. He retained his human consciousness and memories, but gained abilities that allowed him to perceive reality from an eternal perspective. His guides explained that he was being shown these mysteries not just for his own enlightenment, but to create a permanent record for future generations who would face similar challenges during the end times. His writings would serve as a cosmic manual for understanding spiritual warfare and divine judgment. Enoch discovered that heaven wasn't a single location, but a complex, multi-dimensional structure with at least 7 levels, each with its own purpose and inhabitants. In the first heaven, he witnessed the storehouses of weather. Snow, hail, lightning, and thunder weren't random phenomena but tools of divine governance. The weather storehouses operated according to principles of divine justice that connected atmospheric conditions with human behavior. Droughts were sent to humble, proud nations, rains came in response to righteous prayers, and storms served as warnings about approaching judgment. Every cloud and wind pattern had spiritual significance. Enoch observed angels whose sole responsibility was weather management, working in perfect coordination to maintain the balance between mercy and judgment. These beings took their assignment seriously, understanding that atmospheric conditions directly affected human agriculture, health, and spiritual receptivity. The climax came when he was brought before the throne of God himself. The description breaks human language. "I saw the Holy One, the throne of his glory made of crystalline fire, surrounded by beings whose very existence was light." The throne room existed outside normal space and time, allowing Enoch to witness past, present, and future simultaneously. He saw creation's beginning, humanity's fall, the floods coming, and the final restoration of all things. Time wasn't linear from this eternal perspective. It was all present at once. The beings surrounding God's throne weren't just worshipping, they were participating in cosmic governance. Their songs of praise were actually declarations of divine law that maintained the universe's fundamental principles. Worship was revealed as the power source that keeps creation functioning according to God's design. Enoch was seeing the control center of the universe, where all cosmic laws originated. Every prayer, every event, every movement of history was being orchestrated from this central command with precision beyond human comprehension. He learned that nothing in creation operates randomly. Every subatomic particle, every star's movement, every human choice fits into an intricate pattern designed to accomplish God's ultimate purposes. What appears chaotic from a human perspective reveals perfect order from the eternal viewpoint. The control center contained what appeared to be vast computers or calculating devices that monitored every aspect of creation simultaneously. These weren't mechanical machines, but living systems of light and consciousness that processed infinite amounts of information without error. During his journey, Enoch learned the divine calendar system, how the sun travels through 12 portals spending exactly 30 days in each, the precise mechanics of lunar phases, and that the true year contains 364 days. This wasn't just astronomy, it was the divine template for organizing time itself. The calendar revelation explained why certain biblical events occurred on specific dates and why prophetic fulfillment often follows astronomical patterns. God's timing isn't arbitrary. It follows the celestial mathematics he established at creation. Enoch discovered that the 364-day year creates perfect symmetry with 52 weeks of exactly 7 days each. This calendar eliminates the confusion caused by our current system and provides a more accurate framework for understanding prophetic timing in Scripture. Perhaps most shocking was learning that natural disasters were tools of divine communication. Floods, storms, and earthquakes weren't random. They were precisely calibrated responses to human behavior. Each disaster served multiple purposes: judgment on specific sins, warnings for future generations, and course corrections to keep history aligned with the divine timeline. What humans viewed as tragedies were actually mercy, preventing worse consequences by interrupting patterns of increasing corruption. Enoch learned to read natural events like a divine language. Volcanic eruptions indicated God's anger at idol worship. Earthquakes announced the fall of kingdoms. Unusual celestial phenomena warned of approaching spiritual crises. Creation itself was constantly speaking to those who understood its vocabulary. Having witnessed cosmic machinery and walked through God's throne room, Enoch was prepared for his most explosive assignment. The God who created time began unfolding the complete timeline of human history like a cosmic scroll. The historical timeline wasn't presented as vague symbols or abstract concepts. Enoch received specific details about empires, technologies, and individual leaders who would shape civilization thousands of years in the future. He saw the rise and fall of Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome with startling accuracy. But the timeline also included events that seemed impossible from an ancient perspective: global communication systems, flying machines, weapons of mass destruction, and genetic manipulation technologies that wouldn't be developed for millennia. Enoch was seeing our modern world through ancient eyes. Enoch witnessed the final judgment scene with terrifying specificity. He saw the Ancient of Days taking his seat, the resurrection of the dead, and the precise criteria for evaluating every soul. The judgment wasn't arbitrary or emotional. It was based on perfect justice that took every circumstance into account. God's evaluation considered each person's opportunities, challenges, cultural background, and heart motives with absolute fairness. No one would be condemned unjustly or saved by favoritism. The books opened during judgment contained more than just records of actions. They included every thought, motive, and intention that had ever existed. Divine justice operated with complete information about every soul's true character and choices. But this judgment wouldn't just affect humans. Fallen angels and Nephilim would face final sentencing. The fallen angels' punishment was specifically tailored to their crimes. Those who had corrupted human genetics would suffer in ways that matched their violation of creation's design. Those who had taught forbidden knowledge would experience the consequences of their unauthorized revelations. Divine justice was both perfect and proportional. Enoch, the seventh man from Adam, received extraordinary revelations that have echoed through history, shaping religious thought and challenging institutional authority. His visions, recorded in the ancient Book of Enoch, offer profound insights into the spiritual and cosmic order, the nature of the Messiah, and the destiny of humanity. Though suppressed for centuries, Enoch's writings have resurfaced, revealing truths that resonate strikingly with our modern world. Enoch's visions revealed the fate of the Nephilim, the demonic offspring of fallen angels and human women. These disembodied spirits, roaming the earth since the Great Flood, had long influenced human affairs and possessed vulnerable individuals. Enoch foresaw their permanent imprisonment, stripping them of power and freeing humanity from their malevolent sway. This act marked a pivotal moment in the divine plan to restore order to a corrupted world. Central to Enoch's revelations was the figure of the Son of Man, a being endowed with divine authority equal to God himself. Enoch described this figure as chosen before the creation of the world, destined to establish an eternal kingdom where all peoples would serve him. The vision included astonishing details. The Son of Man would be born of a virgin, embark on a mission to redeem humanity, suffer a sacrificial death, and rise from the dead. He would first come as a humble servant, but return as a conquering king to establish a global government rooted in divine principles. Remarkably, Enoch received these prophecies thousands of years before the birth of Jesus Christ, yet they align precisely with Christian claims about the Messiah. The discovery of these texts among the Dead Sea Scrolls confirmed their ancient origin, challenging assertions that Jesus' divinity was a later theological invention. Enoch's precise predictions suggest that Christianity fulfills an ancient divine plan, not a constructed mythology. Enoch's visions extended beyond the Messiah to a complete transformation of reality, a new heaven and new earth where death would be abolished and divine knowledge would permeate existence. This renewed earth would not be a different planet, but our world transformed. Deserts would bloom into gardens, oceans would gleam with crystal clarity, and the climate would be perfectly balanced, free from destructive storms. Humanity too would be transformed. People would receive immortal bodies, blending the best of human nature with angelic capabilities. They would retain their personalities, memories, and relationships while gaining supernatural strength, intelligence, and creativity. The righteous would live as like angels in heaven, fully human, yet elevated to a divine state. Yet Enoch also foresaw a time of great spiritual peril preceding the final judgment. False teachers would rise, distorting scriptures and turning religious institutions into tools of deception. These deceptions would be so subtle that even sincere believers could be misled if they relied on institutional authority rather than a direct relationship with God. False prophets would perform genuine miracles while promoting doctrines that undermined divine truth. Enoch identified several forms of religious corruption: a prosperity gospel equating wealth with spirituality, a social gospel prioritizing political activism over personal salvation, and a mystical gospel offering spiritual experiences without moral transformation. Each would contain enough truth to appear authentic, yet lead people astray from genuine faith. Enoch's prophecies about the final generation are strikingly relevant to our time. He saw a world wielding godlike technological power, weather control, genetic manipulation, extended lifespans, and instant global communication, abilities reminiscent of those taught by fallen angels. Yet these advancements would serve selfish ambitions rather than divine purposes, leading to a crisis of meaning. Despite unprecedented control over material reality, humanity would face epidemic levels of depression, anxiety, and spiritual emptiness, disconnected from the divine source of purpose. Unlike any other human, Enoch did not die. As the Bible states, Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Transformed into Metatron, the celestial scribe, Enoch became a being of immense authority, described in Jewish tradition as the lesser YHWH. As heaven's prime minister, he records divine proceedings, advocates for humanity, and bridges human experience with divine purposes. Enoch's written records, however, faced suppression on Earth. Religious authorities, threatened by his detailed descriptions of cosmic order and warnings about corrupt leadership, excluded the Book of Enoch from the biblical canon, despite its influence on early Christians and its quotation in the New Testament. Political and theological motives drove this exclusion, as Enoch's prophecies challenged consolidating power structures. Yet the knowledge endured. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved Enoch's texts as canonical, Islamic traditions honored him as Idris, and Jewish mystical traditions safeguarded his cosmic revelations. Medieval scholars secretly copied his writings, ensuring their survival across religious boundaries. The 19th and 20th centuries brought renewed interest in Enoch's work. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls provided undeniable evidence that ancient communities revered his texts as scripture. Scholarly translations made these writings accessible to modern audiences, revealing their startling relevance. Enoch's descriptions of cosmic structure echo theories of multiple dimensions. His accounts of genetic manipulation resonate with biotechnology concerns, and his environmental warnings mirror today's ecological crises. His vision of a technologically advanced, yet spiritually lost generation feels like a description of our present moment. The internet has further democratized access to Enoch's revelations, bypassing institutional gatekeepers. Online translations and discussions have reached millions, allowing ordinary people to engage with truths once reserved for the initiated. Enoch's story is a testament to the resilience of truth, surviving centuries of suppression, to illuminate our understanding of the divine plan. His revelations remind us that the boundaries between physical and spiritual realms are permeable, and we are participants in a vast cosmic drama. The fallen angels serve as a cautionary tale. Knowledge without wisdom, power without righteousness, and technology without divine connection lead to destruction. Enoch succeeded where they failed, maintaining his relationship with God while receiving profound revelations. The question now is what we will do with this knowledge. Will we approach it with humility and reverence, using it to deepen our understanding of the divine order? Or will we treat it as mere curiosity? Enoch's revelations were preserved for times like these, a light in darkness, a hope in tribulation, and a reminder that human history is part of a divine narrative, culminating in justice and restoration. Enoch, the man who walked with God, left a legacy of dangerous yet vital knowledge. It challenges us to seek truth with courage, to question institutional narratives, and to align our lives with the eternal purposes of the Creator. The knowledge is available to all who seek it. The choice to receive it is ours. And that, my friends, is the incredible story of Enoch, the man who walked with God, defied the corruption of his age, and received visions that still speak to us today. His life reminds us that in the darkest times, it's still possible to live in alignment with the Creator's plan, to stand firm against deception, and to seek the truth no matter the cost. If you found this journey through Enoch's world fascinating and thought-provoking, don't let it end here. There's so much more history, mystery, and hidden wisdom waiting to be uncovered. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next chapter in our exploration of the ancient world and the truths it still holds for us today. Until next time, stay curious, stay faithful, and keep seeking the light.